Hello, welcome back to the video tutorial of mentorship program for UI UX design. Today in the advanced Figma module, the tool that we are going to learn is the text tool. So let's get started. As you can see on the toolbar, we have the text tool in the T icon. You can either select this tool or you can press T on your keyboard. Now my cursor is here, I will press T and I have the cursor of the text tool. I have the mouse pointer of the text tool. I will click here and I will type this is my title text. Now let's have a title text and a description text. Okay, so I will create a copy out of this. There are two ways to do it. Either you can press Option key on Mac, Alt key on Windows and click and drag it. So you can create a copy out of this. Let's delete this. Let's see the other way. The other way is a regular copy and paste. So I will select this. I will copy Control C or Command C. And as I paste, you can see on the left hand side panel that I have a new layer. But I cannot see the text. Why? Because when you do that, it will paste right on top of your existing layer. And I have moved it down because we want it separately. Now, let's look at how we can make this text tool to change the properties and make it properly and make it like a title. Now here is all your properties for the text tool you will find on the right hand side panel. It starts with the alignment. Now right now this is the only element that's selected, and that is the reason why the alignments are all disabled. The next thing is the position of the text. We have x-axis, which is the horizontal position. If you hover on this, you will see that the pointer, the mouse pointer changes to an arrow pointer. You can just click and drag and change it, or you can give it a round figure value. You can enter a value. You can also say if you want to move it by let's say 50 pixels, then just say plus 50. It will calculate and it will move your text. This property applies to all the tools in Figma. Now Y tool, the same applies to Y tool. You can either click and drag, change it, or enter a value. So here is I will move this text aside. Here is my text tool. Okay, now as you can see, the width and height of my text tool is disabled. Why? Because it's a free text right now. If I take the text tool and click and drag here, and then I add a description here, let's say we'll call this is a description text. Then I have the width and height enabled. Why? Because we have a defined space for this. So let's say we'll say 300 and 120. We can change it now. We will remove this text. We will only use these two text blocks. Let's add some dummy text to this. To get dummy text, what you can do is you can simply go to dummy text. Click on the first link that you see. Copy the first paragraph. Okay, I've copied almost everything and paste it here. Select the amount of text that you want. Put your cursor, so I want it till this unchanged full stop. Okay, I will click on this, shift, I will press shift and the down key, or shift command and down, shift command or control and down key. So everything else, it gets selected till the end, and I'll delete this. So this is my description text, this is my title text now. Now, to change the text properties, we have all the properties, the text properties here on the right hand side panel on this section. By default, Figma will select the font style Inter. However, if you click on the drop down arrow here, you will be able to see all the other options available. Let's go with Helvetica. Where is Helvetica? Helvetica is here. Okay, now because this is my title, I want it bold. It's already bold, but the font weight can be changed from this drop down. Light, regular, oblique is italics. So let's see how other font weight looks. Let's stick to bold. Now we come to the font size. You can either select from this default values of the font size, or you can enter your own. Okay, the plus, minus, all of this applies to all the values where you have numbers. So here is the font size. Now, line height. There is one thing that you need to remember about line height. Your line height should be, if it's a one line text, so if it's a title text or it's a subtitle text, if that text is just of one line, then the line height of that text should be 1.2 times the font size. Okay, I'll write it down here so that we remember. 1.2 into the font size. Okay, this is for a one line text. Now, how do we do this? So here my font size is 36 into 1.2. Okay, now as I do this, my line height is in decimal. We should never have a value in decimal. Hence, what we will do is we will say 120%. So it will take 120% of whatever the font size is. This also helps because the moment you change the font size, it will automatically change or update the line height. You will not have to change it by saying 1.2 into 40 if you're changing the font size. And that is why I go with 120%. We will change this back to 32. Okay. Now, next is your letter spacing. Now, you can either change it by click and drag, or you can enter a value here. Let's say 5%, and we'll see what happens. So the space between each letter increases. So when you want a text which is nicely spread across, then this. However, we will stick to the original, the default letter spacing, or we don't want any extra letter spacing. Now this is the spacing between two paragraphs. We will do that when we are coming to the description text. Now this is my free text. Remember, we saw that the width and height are disabled. If I have to enable it, we can use these options to do that. So one is free width, the other is free height, which is auto width, auto height, and then is the fixed size. So I'll select fixed size, and now this is enabled. Okay, so I will either give it, let's say we'll reduce the size and see what happens. So now my text width has the section for that, the area of the text has reduced, and therefore the text has moved to second line. So we will increase it by 100, and we will retain the we'll retain a size that covers the entire text in one line. We can also change the height. Let's give it a round figure, and now it's 40. Auto height is, it will see, I have defined a height. If I select on auto height, it will only take the space of the font and the line height. So let's stick to auto height here. Now there is a left alignment, center alignment, and right alignment. We will stick to left. There is a top alignment, middle alignment, and bottom alignment. Now why is it not changing? Because it has an auto height. So we will increase the height, and we will see how this vertical alignment works. So now I have a height for this section. Currently it's aligned to top. Now it's at the center. See, you can see there is equal spacing on top and bottom, and now it's at the bottom. So this is how you can adjust your text, the vertical alignment of your text. We will stick to auto height for now. Now there are some additional properties other than these are some of the most used properties, and that that is the reason why it's upfront. If you want to look at more properties, there are these three dots, there is this button, just click on it and you will see resizing. We saw auto width, we saw auto height, we saw fixed size. There is something called as truncate text. Okay, this is what happens when, let's say, my title text is very long. Okay, but I need to show only I need to show that title in a specific width and height. In that case, you have to use the truncate text option. Okay, now let's see how it works. For truncate text, you have to have a defined height, defined width. Now I am changing the text to, the title text, to something longer. So I've copied it from there, and okay, as you can see, while there is more text to it, but all the other text is hidden, and it conveys from these three dots that there is more text to this. When we say truncate text, it will only show the amount of text that can be seen within that specified area. So this is my title. Let's say the title is very long and I need to show I have only this much area. Okay, normally we do not do that with the title, so we will not use a truncate text for the title, and we will keep the title short. We can do that with the description text though. So this is my title and this is my resizing property. Alignment, we have seen left, right, left, center, right, and we have one justify. Justify is when you actually want it end to end. However, it does not apply to the title. We'll use it for description again. Then you have underline, you have strikeout, and you have inherit. Basically, default, nothing. There is a paragraph spacing. Like I said, we'll come to that in the description text. List, bullet, again we'll come it for description. The text case here. Let's say we want the title in capitals, so we can go for an uppercase, or we can lowercase. We can use title case. Because it's a title, let's stick to uppercase. Okay, and I have closed this. The next thing that we can change here is the font color. Now I will select this and I can add a color here and a color to this. Okay, because this is my title, it also needs to be prominent. So now I have a color to it. Normally we do not apply stroke to text, so we will not, but we will see how it works. I'm adding a stroke and I'm giving it a white border so that we can see, because the background is dark. Now your stroke can be inside the element, it can be outside, or it can be at the center. Let's keep outside because we don't want it to we don't want it to conflict with the fill color. And I'm increasing this to 10 just so that we can see how the stroke works. Okay, now but we do not really want stroke, so we will remove it. Okay, how do we remove it? There is a minus sign here, just click on that and it will get removed. Okay, so now we have this fill. We saw stroke, and now we will move on to the description paragraph. I'll write these rules here at the top so that we can look at it later also. Now we are increasing the size for description. Let's say we are doing an article and here we have 2 paragraphs. Okay, now let's change properties for this. It should look like a description text. So my font weight, firstly my font family, I have selected Helvetica for my title. I will go for Helvetica for my description text also. The font weight here should be regular. It can also be light. For now we'll stick to light. My font size is 12, I think, which is decent. We can either increase or decrease the size. One tip here is that if I select, if now I need to reduce the size. Okay, if I select a value, this applies to all the values: width, height, font size, everything that has a numeric value. You can change it in the following way. You have arrow keys on your keyboard. If you click down arrow, it will be a -1. If you click up arrow, it will be a +1. If you press shift and down arrow, it will be -8, 10 or +10. However, in my case, it shows 8 because I have changed that value to 8. The reason being, we have a 4-point grid or an 8-point grid. Now I will show you how you can change the amount of pixels that it uses. The shift key uses to change the value is called the nudge amount. So I am going to my quick actions, okay, and I will press nudge amount. Click on this and see here I had changed it to 8. By default it is always at 10. Go back to 10. I'll keep the default value. And 240 -10 -10 -10. Okay. So because we will increase spacing, or we are leaving just some extra space so that we can change the line height and spread out the text. As you can see, the description text, because it's so close to each other, it's sort of difficult for the user to read. So tip, when you are defining the width of a text block, it should not go beyond 700 when it's a longer piece to read. 700 is the ideal size for your width for the text block. The other thing here is the line height. Now we saw that if it's a one-liner text, then the line height should be 1.2x of the font size. However, if it's a paragraph, it should be 1.5 or 1.8. So it can be between 1.5 to 1.8 times the font size. Now let's try it on this. We have a line height. I will say 150%. Now it's nicely spaced out and convenient to read on a screen. However, you can choose to increase it. Okay, 1.5 to 1.8. Now let's come to the letter spacing. We may or may not want letter spacing here, so let's start with 0. Okay, does it look a little very close to each other? Yes, maybe we can change it to 1 or 2. Okay, when we are reading an article or when we are reading a text online, it requires a lot of breathing space for our eyes, because 1, we are reading it on a screen. 2, it helps the user to stay on the line that they are reading. Now I will increase the size to 260. Okay, now this is my description text. There were 2 things that we had left. One was paragraph spacing. Okay, now let's see. Let's say 20. See, now there is a 20 pixel paragraph. So the moment I change a paragraph, it will leave a 20 pixel space. And then there was that's it. Okay, and then there was a list item. Now let's say we want to have some bullet points inside this. Okay, this is my 1 bullet point, this is my 2nd bullet point. So we will select these 2. We will select these and I will go to this option. I'll add it a bullet point. So now I have this as a bullet point. You can either have it by the circle or by number. These are all the text properties that you can apply on the text tool for giving. These are all the properties that you can apply for your text tool. With the help of these properties, you can define a particular type of design to every text element in your design. That's all for today. Thank you so much.